We're going to kick off our second panel. I am so excited to be sitting up here with Ron, my brother and co founder. And with Chrissy Teigen, who most certainly doesn't need an introduction, but I'll give one anyway. Chrissy has published 3 New York Times best-selling cookbooks. She's the founder of Cravings, a one-stop shop for recipes, the best affordable cookware, cozy outfits, and her recently launched baking mixes, which I love. And finally, she's a mom of 2.5. Yes. 3 quarters. Yes. With her spouse, John Legend. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. This is beautiful. I've never been, I come here all the time, but at nighttime, it's a different world. It's gorgeous. So thank you guys.
Yeah. Well, we love the way you get raw and real about all things mom, entrepreneur, businesswoman, wife, all the things. And at By Heart, we always want to have just really open and honest conversations. And we're just really excited to do that tonight. And it's been fun getting to know you and your kind of philosophy on all things parenthood and feeding. So excited to be having that conversation here all together. So thank you for participating. Our struggles of parenthood are universal. And when we tell our stories and get real, then makes us all feel in it together. So looking forward to this.
Thanks for being with us, Chrissy. Mia and I started By Heart 6 years ago, really with one goal, and that was that parents would just feel amazing in how they feed and nourish their babies. And today, breastfeeding parents feel quite amazing, knowing that they're feeding their babies the most natural and functional nutrition. But unfortunately, many formula parents don't feel that way. Actually, in conversations we have, half of formula feeding parents fear that their baby won't be as healthy as a breastfed baby, which is ridiculous because we are in one of the most exciting eras of nutrition science with breakthroughs in, our understanding of breast milk. There's actually never been a better time to create formulas that get much closer to breast milk. Mia and I and the team at By Heart, we knew that the only way to make people feel amazing was to really commit to the long and hard path of completely innovating the formula and creating a product that really drives the most important benefits of breast milk through really cleanest ingredients. And so we brought together the world's experts to completely rewrite the recipe on the latest nutrition science. We bought our manufacturing facilities and handpick all of our ingredients to have ensure kind of the highest quality from farm to formula, and ran a major clinical trial so that parents actually have proof of the benefits so they can feel really proud of those decisions. But as we spoke about earlier, our mission is much bigger than just formula feeding. We actually want all parents to feel really confident in all of their parenting choices. And so, in conversations like these and real conversations with people like you, Chrissy, it enables us to kind of remember that we're not, in this alone, and that, this actually experience of parenthood is actually a shared one. And, all the good moments, all the crazy moments. And so actually we called this panel the chaos of parenthood, because there's, so many of those oh shit moments when you realize that you're in way over your head. For me, my oh shit, I'm a parent moment was when our 3-year-old's entire toddler class, for some reason, all got worms. And I had never heard of worms. And, Zoa's sleeping in her crib in the other room, and my wife, Carrie, and I are having a glass of wine, staring at this, test tube of tape or whatever it is thing. And Carrie's looking at me with these eyes of, this one's you. You got this one. And so I'm like tiptoeing into, Zoa's room, like with a thing of tape, like trying to figure out how I'm gonna get this like on a little tush to get this worm out. And it was just like, I was just in that moment, like they don't teach you this stuff. So, Chrissy, you have
You should have had dogs to prep, basically. I mean, all my dogs have had worms. I actually like a couple months ago, even. Yeah, and it's great when you see you guys are eating.
yeah,
I won't even go into it. But yeah, worms I would have loved.
right, exactly,
I
exactly.
Worms are like nothing to me. John and I actually I was the one that got us our first dog together, and it was John's first dog. So yeah, we've had a lot of animals together. Right now we have 4. We have so many different. We have a bearded dragon. We have all the turtle. Like I always forget what we have, honestly, and I forget what's alive and what's dead. And I'm like, where is peanut butter? They're like, he died. I'm like, oh god, you're right, he did. But that really, loosened us up with being able to see things. Like worms are like nothing to me. It was the scabies not long ago that got me. Yeah. And I'm the dumbass that tweeted about it like right before the Emmys. Everyone when I was at the Emmys, they're like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "Don't worry, it's gone."
So you're saying next time practice run with pets. That's
Yes,
good.
you
That's
need to
good
have
advice.
yeah.
So anyway, that was my oh shit moment. But Chrissy, you have a mom of 2, Luna and Miles. Tell us, what was your most memorable oh shit moment?
I mean, I actually it's kind of crazy. I thrive off chaos, but I also I grew up in a family with not a lot of little kids, so I'm very new to the little kid world. My daughter was kind of the first little kid I really interacted with. I'm kind of the youngest in my entire family. Meanwhile, John has so many nephews and he's surrounded by so many like wonderful children around him at all times. And when he was growing up, he always had kids around, but I really didn't. And so everything was kind of very new to me from the very beginning. And I was so shocked that I could handle like the stress of it really well. I remember sometimes sorry, the congestion is part of it. I'm sure you all know. But uh, there were situations where, Luna would be you'd be making her bottle. I think the first like big accident we have, I don't know if you guys saw, but Miles actually went to a plastic surgeon this morning for his first stitches and that stuff like I was expecting. That kind of stuff is very easy. But what I didn't expect was how well I could handle the stress of things like that happening. I think when people freak out, I tend to really calm the situation. So I was very like I remember buying this incredible knife set and it arriving early around 9 o'clock in the morning and we put it on my countertop, and then we had a nanny that was making the bottle and holding Luna at the same time, and I was right behind her making breakfast, and I just heard a scream. The scream is so different from like the normal screams, and Luna was so teeny tiny, and she had kicked a knife out of the knife block, and it went straight up and straight down in back into its little knife block hole. It was kind of fascinating and just I looked over at the fridge and it was covered in blood and Luna was freaking out and more than anything, she felt so terrible for having been the one that was around and not I'm like it could happen to anybody. Like these things just happen. And for some reason, and I think it's probably from my upbringing of having like a bit of a chaotic childhood and a chaotic family and a chaotic home that I just really can like buckle down and like really know what the heck to do. I think the thing is like making everybody I hate when people feel bad for like a simple mistake and stuff. So it was honestly more like taking care of them and being like, you're okay. You're going to be fine. I'm not mad about this. This is okay. Let's go get this fixed. Let's get this done. But for the most part, like a lot of the chaos like revolves around, I love the general chaos of every day. But when it's like an accident, like an actual accident or something, I'm like, okay, this is when it gets crazy. But I love being able to see like how I react in those moments because that is only from my upbringing, and as crazy as it was growing up, it, like, actually served me, along the way.
Yeah, parenthood definitely tests us. Like,
Yeah. Oh, hi!
We were talking about scabies and worms earlier, and I'm so sorry. We're on the guacamole portion, and I wanted to say the one that really freaked me out, because it's like we're doing this and no one tells us what it is. Like, what the hell is? I couldn't believe it. My kids came home and they came home with a note, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's fine. They're just a little sick. They have foot and mouth disease." And I was like, "This is not okay." Hand hand and foot. Yeah, right. They had hand, foot, and mouth disease, and they were like, "It's fine. Everybody gets this." And I was like, "No, they don't. They don't get this. Hand and foot and mouth."
I think it's from like Oregon Trail. Doesn't it sound like one of those old?
Sounds like it's from like an alien colony. Hand and foot and mouth disease. I'm sorry. Just continue. Sorry, Chris.
Highly contagious as well. We got that same letter. I wonder if we go to the same school. But yeah, you never know what you're going to get at school, basically. And if you're curious, scabies is mites that burrow into your skin.
Wow.
It was a fun one. I still have the marks from it, by the way. It's been 4 months, and I still have them.
Endless fun.
Endless fun. Always a surprise, but I really love it. It's so, I don't know.
So on the topic of chaos, we're in the business of feeding. All we love to talk about is feeding, and it is one of the most chaotic parts of parenthood. It's one of the first decisions that we make, one of the first things we do as parents. And so, talk to us about when you think about the chaos and feeding and the feeding plan you had, and then what actually happened. Um, what tell us about like what the plan was and how it changed and how it evolved.
Yeah, I didn't have a plan at all. I didn't do like a birthing class. I didn't do anything. I just figured that people have been doing this for so long and it's gonna come out. And I don't want to think too much about it. I honestly, I don't know. And also, I was nervous, so I just wanted to in a way make everybody happy and just do what they told me. Like I'm very much like that with work and everything. I'm like, tell me what to do and I'll do it. So like even um uh with the doctors and my doctor and my OB and everything, I just wanted to listen to her in the moment and see what was going to happen. And I didn't really have a feeding plan. We had I remember asking around for the best formulas. A lot of them at the time, like 7 years ago, everyone was like, "You got to get the German formula. You got to get this German formula." And I was like, "Oh God, like okay, that's the formula then." And then I remember being at the hospital and giving birth, and I was so proud because Luna took to breastfeeding so well, and I thought I was so excited, but it was me that was the problem, and the nurses had given me like Similac or something super sugary, and I remember being like, "Well, I have my German formula here," and they're like, "No, we refuse. They don't let you." So, yeah, we just did that, and then I think a lot of parents, like, what always is so incredible to me is that we just put so much trust in doctors, and you really should. I still do, but you really believe that they're going to do the best for you, so you're not necessarily going to want to challenge them ever. I didn't want to. I was too exhausted to challenge them in that moment, so it was just something that I did, and then I was like, "Well, should I keep up with this formula that they have her on because I'm going home and I don't wanna change it and change her poops and change everything, and then it's all out of whack." But I think that's the craziest part of formula is what the hospitals are doing, and what the hospitals are giving the babies because, their main motive is to fatten them up quickly and get them out of there and get them healthy, and that makes sense, but then things are up to you, and I think you have to really have a lot of confidence going in. I would have probably, with Luna, done more research and done, but I put my faith in everybody around me as well. And then you kind of drive yourself too crazy doing too much research too. So I wanted to balance that, and I didn't want to. I don't know. There's just really no wrong way to do it sometimes. I think if they're fed, they're happy. That's what you guys believe in too, and that's why I love By Heart. I just really was so excited to nurse that when it didn't work out for me, I think I was getting like a couple millimeters. I loved pumping. I was obsessed with pumping because I had had like a breast lift and all these things that have happened to my nipples. So I don't even care about like the feeling. I was just like, screw it. Like I'm gonna pump hard. I had that like what is it, a Medela? I was like, I turned that thing up all the way and I would sit there and John's like, how do you do that? I had to buy like the extra big cups and I was just like letting it go, but I wasn't getting very much. And it was so frustrating, but I knew that I would have to supplement and it would be okay because I grew up on formula. I have a lot of friends that, I have a couple friends that were adopted. I have a couple friends adopted. I have a couple of friends that only grew up on formula. I have a couple of friends that were only breastfed. It just doesn't make a difference in the end. I think we drive ourselves crazy. And I had baby nurses. If anything, like it was the outside voices driving me crazy. It wasn't myself. It was everyone else being like, "Did you have garlic today?" I'm like, "Why?" "Oh, the baby is burping and farting." I'm like, "Well, that's what fucking babies do, right? Don't they like only do that?" But it was just, yeah, there was
Yeah,
a
and
lot
all
of
those
guilt and
voices.
blame and so many voices.
Yeah.
So exhausting. But I'm so happy that this time around I really feel so present um and stronger and I'm really excited to be able to speak up on my own behalf and advocate for myself and yeah, this time around it's going to be different.
I love that. Woo! Yeah, that's so important to kind of all those voices in your head from everybody around you just adds to so much of the insecurity and the guilt and the confusion of it all and the noise of it all. And I love that kind of advocating for yourself this time and really gaining that confidence to like trust yourself. And that's so much of what I think growing into yourself as a parent is all about. I also, by the way, loved pumping because I was like, this is freedom. And then,
Like I was crazy about seeing it. I didn't know what they were getting if they were just I don't know. It was driving me insane not knowing. So I
yeah,
loved and then we all have our first spill and then we go crazy. It's so
yeah,
sad.
yeah. I think Jerry was talking about spilling breast milk by accident and the violence that ensued after that. So yes, that is definitely a devastating moment.
Everything we do at By Heart has been focused on trying to create a formula that parents can feel really proud of. Most wholesome and clean ingredients and driving the most important benefits for babies. And that took us a long time. It was a long labor of love of over 5 years. And when we launched earlier this year, we became really the first new infant formula manufacturer in over 15 years, and just one of five in the country. As you were just speaking about, I know we've talked about in the past. I think you were sharing you went to Europe to find infant formulas that you feel good about in the past, and now with number three on the way, I'm curious, like, how are you thinking about, what you're kind of prioritizing for nutrition for your baby? How are you thinking about this kind of, on round three?
We are already loaded up with our By Heart. I'm genuinely so excited to be able to only primarily feed our baby By Heart. It's so ridiculous the feeling of living in the United States of America and having to ship in formula from Germany because you know that their laws and then their rules and their FDA and their personal FDA rules are stronger than ours. It's a weird and like shameful feeling to have to do that because you want to trust like that we're the greatest country in the world and that we have all these rules. But I can't even imagine for you guys personally what goes into the work that goes into really getting your formula regulated and out there. Like I know how hard it was for a fucking cookie mix. Like I can't even imagine what goes into it to be for nutritional health benefits of a baby formula. I mean the testing, the everything. So I genuinely trust you guys. I'm very excited. My little babies, I Miles was actually super super early. So I tend to have the issue of giving birth early because my placenta for some reason doesn't just like ends up giving up feeding them. Like I take all their food. and I gain weight, but the babies don't, which I think is personally so funny that like I steal their food. But they're like, okay, we need to get this baby out of you. So I tend to give birth really early, and they come out and they're little and they have tummy issues, and so for me, feeding like they ate just fine. They were sucking down bottles, but the gas problems, the intestinal problems, the everything that comes with a formula. You really don't just want a formula to be good and fatten them up and be clean. Like that really should be the bare minimum. There should be so much more that goes into it. There are all different types of babies. I mean, we have dog food that is regulated by like dog size and the different breeds and the issues that might arise for that dog, but we don't have baby formula for that. So the fact that you guys do that for preemie babies and everything, that's really incredible to me because I'm going to be one of the people that needs that. So yeah, I'm excited.
Um, so you talk a lot about how you're very close with your mom. Our mom is actually here tonight, so where it all began. So tell us, as you're navigating parenthood and the ups and downs and the craziness of it all, how has your mom kind of helped you navigate it? And any words of wisdom or moments of wisdom that we can pull from?
Yeah, my mom lives with us. I think a lot of people know that she has for a long time. Um, and it's always been a very we kind of have a really open door policy in our house. We always have of of just warmth, and family is always able to stay, and whether it's John's family or my family. And the thing about my mom is that I moved so much growing up, so we're always like very adaptable to any new situation, and we don't harp on things that change or go wrong. We're actually very used to it as it's not a great thing, but we're very used as a family to things going wrong quickly and having to adapt to that. So with her, I think what's fun, being able to see her, like my God, she helped me out so much today, like with the stitches and everything, and being able to take care of Miles. But it's those little things, like just spending time. My kids love family. They love their cousins and and their grandparents, and they feel like deep, like a real, true, deep connection to them when they get to be with them. It's just different. And I think it might be because they meet so many people and they're introduced to so many people all the time. They do so many sports and we have so many parent things that we do that when it comes to family, they're very like connected. But I love how much my mom is just like their bright light and their, shining star. She's so fun to them. I think that's the benefit of being a grandparent, right? You get to be so fun. And you get to be the one that my mom puts them to puts will put one to bed if John's gone or something or working. She'll be putting one to bed, and it's just such a special time for them because she's entering this world where she's always been very childlike my whole life. But now having a kid like that to bond with and doing childlike things with a real child is always so fun for her. And I think also a second thing is she brings a lot of culture into the house. Of course, she's Thai, so they get their like I can't even explain the things that she explains to them. Like last night, she was like, "Well, Miles, your stitches happened because there was a full moon and the archer ate the full moon last night in like a Thai story or something." So I'm like, "What does that even okay?" Then Miles is like, "Did you know the archer ate the moon?" I'm like, "What does that mean?" But none of it is bad. It's all good culture stuff. She reads them like Thai fables at night, and there's a lot of Thai food in the house, and making them open to other cultures by eating new flavors and things is really exciting to me. So yeah, she does so much to our house. She's like this big light and bright energy.
So great. Yeah, I also get to benefit from my mom being around a lot, and she's like that sanity check when I'm freaking out about something. She's like, "Don't worry, it will pass. It will pass." I remember when I was breastfeeding and my mom kept saying, "Isn't breastfeeding so beautiful?" And I was like, well, every time I start to breastfeed, it's like I'm going to battle with Nev. It's like me versus her, like just in gruesome battle. So it can be beautiful, but it can also be complete torture. And she's like, keep going, keep going. It will pass. It will pass. And so, yeah, I think it's also nice to have your mom around that you can just lash out when you need to or get the pep talk when you need it. So,
My mom too seems like she sees so many different parts of our household, and sees like the pain that could come with like postpartum depression. I mean, she's seen every part of us as a couple, just her being so close, and she's seen like the ups and the downs and the struggles, and to have your parent like fully come around and not just be a parent but respect you as like a peer and everything is really a cool thing too.
well, on that topic, we all have moments where we're like, I'm just going to pat myself on the back and give myself some credit here because I did a good job today. What are kind of, what's one thing that you're proud of that you've done as a parent that you just going to give yourself a little tap on the back
Oh
for?
gosh. I don't know. I told you guys this before, but like I am like typically very insecure about the things that I do. I don't know if I did a good job, or I tend to like really not get excited for things because I'm like waiting for the other shoe to drop sometimes. I don't plan for anything. Even for this baby, I have no plan for a few months from now. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know if it's going to be different from the other two or if it's just an addition. I don't really know what I'm doing ever, but I do know that for some reason that has worked for me. And I know that our kids are genuinely kind, empathetic people that are warm and funny, like genuinely funny, like shock me. And and they have their moments, of course. They're kids and they're competitive and they fight, but I genuinely like what we have done together. I think that's what's a cool thing too. John and I have been together for like 17 years now. And so to see this different side of your partner and to see how they raise kids, like I'm proud of the fact that like I picked the right partner, and for some reason, and I don't know why, but the two of us together have really nailed the kid thing. Like we really have like a and we genuinely have a good time with it. It's really fun. Like we like spending time with them. John will still take the kids to school every single morning that he can, which is usually like at least it's 4 to 5 times, honestly. It's crazy. Honestly, their school is crazy with the people that really pick up and drop off their kids. I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble, but like there's like I'm like when I go there, I'm like, oh my God, the fact that you pick up and drop off, I should be picking up and dropping off more. You're way busier than me. But it's pretty incredible to see that like we had no like plans to be parents when we were young and in love. Like I was 20, and then it just worked out. And for me, a lot of things in my life have been more of a struggle and like a battle, and the fact that like this all came together and the kid thing worked out makes me like wonder about this one because I'm like it's been so great that this one has to be crazy. I don't know. I just that's the way my mind goes. But yeah, so far we it's like the for me the best thing I've ever done, the most normal thing I've ever done, and the thing that I know I've done right. The only thing. So.
Oh, that's so great. Something that you talked about was just how now you're on your third, and it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And that was something so surprising to me that every time I felt like I couldn't remember how to do anything.
Well,
Or
also,
people would say, oh, well, you've been through this, or you're an expert. And I'd say, oh, no, I forgot everything. And I'd be sort of insecure anew every time and never felt like a true expert, but eventually just said, I got this. Like, it's gone well so far, so let's just keep winging it.
Well, also, I do genuinely feel like you're never ready. Like we did IVF to the point where an embryo was put inside my body, and when it worked, I was like, oh fuck. Like I for some reason was like, okay, shit, like we're doing this, and it happened the second time with Miles, and you just it makes you realize like you really are never like fully prepped for it. So yeah, you just really don't know what's going to happen, and I think that's the fun part about it.
Yeah. So my last question, so much of Feed Fest is about getting everybody's kind of tips and tricks and kind of what works. What's your hot take on feeding or parenthood? So share with us, what's your kind of advice? What's your hot take on motherhood and feeding? Give it to us.
My hot take. There really is. I mean, it's so hard. Honestly, my real true hot take is like that breastfeeding, and I said this before, is that I've always felt like we see all the models on the covers breastfeeding their baby, and everyone's like, so controversial, so controversial. And my hot take is honestly that it would be much more controversial if you threw a mom on there formula feeding a baby. Like that would get a million more comments of chaos than a woman just breastfeeding. I do feel like it's so wonderful to see that, and it's so great to see that. But I personally am so tired of seeing people open their refrigerators of breast milk and being like counting the breast milk. And I'm like, good for you. I want to see a woman do that with formula now. Because for me, like, that's exactly what it is. Like, there is no right way to do anything. And honestly, I don't even know. Like, I told you guys this before. Like, I'm always scared to talk about, like, I feel like I talk about parenting so much, but for the amount that I want to talk about it and I'm holding back, it's so much more because you don't want to be that like annoying person that's talking about it so much.
Well,
But
here, we're
exactly, I know. I'm like, I told him, I was like, if you guys ask me about it, I'll be like, I'll just never stop talking because it really is like a bonding moment between, it's our common ground. It's the thing that like humanizes all of us. We've all been through it. Like we're the only animals, honestly, that don't just like give birth to a baby that starts walking immediately. Like we have to do so much. There's no prep for it. Um, there it's just so random and exciting and fun and torturous, and you go through so much. And so my hot take is there's no rules for anything. There's no reason to anything. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no reason that certain things happen to you or I have amazing, incredible doctors and nutritionists, and I couldn't come up with an inch of milk ever. I mean, there's just no rhyme or reason. You can't blame yourself, and the sooner that you realize that it has nothing to do with you, the happier you'll be.
I love that. And I love, yes. Woo! I love that. You're so right. Feeding, parenthood, it's just so human and so universal and what bonds us. It was beautifully said. So thank you so much for
Thank
the
you.
conversation today and for being a part of Feed Fest. And thank you for all of you for engaging in these conversations about the most human thing that
No,
we
thank
do.
you for creating something for us that I don't have to ship in from Germany anymore. It's such a treat. And I'm so excited. I'm genuinely really, really excited for this new path with this new baby. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, everybody, enjoy.